Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to a Monday. It's the 9th of March 2026 and it is a very foggy day here at Giga-Texas, as you can tell. Because of that, I've had to delay my flight here a few hours, a little bit later than normal, trying to let this all kind of break up so that we can actually see something with the drone. So while we're waiting for the fog to clear, I thought I would talk a little bit about a few developments that are going on here that we'll see a little later in the video, and that has to do with Cortex 2. Now, you know that Cortex 2 is being built right now at a pretty frenetic pace. The main construction began about January 2025, so we're a little bit more than a year into that process, and the plan is to try to get it to be operational, at least initially, sometime in the spring of this year. Now, much of the work has been going on the inside, installing a lot of the cooling systems, the heat exchangers, the pumps, also fitting out the West Hall for the computer cabinets, and also all of the computers that are going to be inside, plus a lot of the other interior work. On the exterior, what we've been seeing is the work to get at least half of the mega packs installed, and that work is going to be continuing throughout the rest of this summer, or spring into summer. On the east side, we're seeing a lot of the work with the cooling systems. Part one is getting the 6 fans installed and all of the plumbing and the manifolds set up so that that could be operational. In addition to that, there is a temporary chilling system that is being installed, and that has 18 of these trailer mounted chiller systems and a temporary pipe that brings that cooling from and then back into the facility, so that all of this can work together to allow them to get the Cortex 2 up and running as quickly as possible. Now, I published some of that information on Friday, and Elon Musk actually responded to my post by saying that Cortex 1 operation will begin next month, which means April. And that's pretty consistent to what I have been seeing and what I've been hearing. And in addition to the fact that it's going to be up and running next month in April, they're going to continue to build out the rest of the system while they are bringing that Cortex 2 data center online. So it will continue to expand, it will continue to get more capabilities throughout the spring and to the summer. And all of this is geared along with the Fremont factory end of the S&X production line, so that they can change over to start producing the Optimus robots, that 1 million per year version 3 of the Optimus discussion that we heard about at the shareholders meeting. And they're hoping for that construction or the production for the Optimus robot to begin later this year. So all of this is coming together quite nicely, and it's great to get that confirmation from Elon of all the things that I've been hearing and talking about and what we can expect with Cortex coming up. So without further ado, I think the best thing is let's get the drone in the air now that the fog is starting to clear, and see what else is going on here at Giga-Texas today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning from the west side of Giga-Texas. We're starting off with very low clouds, as you can tell. The visibility is improving, so is the mist and the rainy conditions, and we will see that throughout the rest of the video. I did want to stop here and show you a major development that is underway. You can see many Cybercabs are lined up here, and also a covered transport. They're getting ready to move these vehicles into this transport. And the number of Cybercabs changed throughout my time flying today, but I thought I would capture this right off the bat. So I think that there's about 16 of them here right now, and that number would increase later on. What I also wanted to show you is, in addition to the transports that they're using, is the process that is used to move these vehicles into the truck. And I've had a lot of viewers ask me about that. And here you can see that the driver is getting in and is able to control the vehicle. That's because all of these have steering wheels and brake pedals and accelerator pedal. All of these are test vehicles. Although they're newly produced, these are going out to test probably the robotaxi fleet and various different states and cities. You can also see some of them have blue tape where the exterior mirror would be. And those indicate that the mirrors will be added on after transport and for all of that testing. The other thing is these all have the gold wrap on them, which indicates that these are the engineering versions and these are not the final versions that will be coming off the production line in just a few weeks, or the ones that are over at crash testing, which we will see a little bit later today. But all of these are going out for that testing, and this gives you a really good view of how this operation is working. Later on today, another one of these covered trucks will arrive and more of the Cybercabs will be loaded up. You can also see some more on the west side of the end of line as we just passed by. This is what the Model Ys look like today. Production is underway, and it seems like it is the Model Y rear-wheel drive day for production. I'm going to fly back over towards the west to just get a good look at this material staging yard, the expanded material staging yard that we are seeing coming into view at the bottom of the screen, and all of the materials that have been relocated here from the area at the top of the screen where we're going to see more work on that test track. There's also some more of the materials that were in that kind of eastern part of that staging yard have been moved away. As we continue to fly to the south, we can see all of the white transformers that are being stored here for later use, probably off-site. Some of the workshops, some of the materials, the 4688 production items on the upper left, and here at the supercharger workshop, many more of the superchargers have been assembled and are getting ready for use either here on site, because there is a permit for superchargers for the end of line, or off site. As I bring the drone up a little bit higher, I wanted to show you the work that is underway, preparing all of this ground for that construction of the test track. And this on the far west side kind of gives you a really good look at what is happening here and how much of the earthwork is underway. Some of the ponds are still in the middle of the screen, but they are spreading off some geotextile membrane. We'll get a closer look at that in a moment. Also looks like they're making kind of a semicircle path through this location. And here's a little bit more of that coming into view off the right of the screen. And I don't know if that's telling us what the shape of the test track will be, but it is interesting to watch how this is progressing. Maneuvering to the very far southwest part of the site, you can see the perimeter fence at the bottom of the screen, and at the top, Giga-Texas. So this gives you a really good sense of where we are located. Now they're doing some excavation work in the bottom right, and some smoothing of the dirt here at the middle of the screen. And as I mentioned, they're rolling out geotextile membrane, kind of breaking this pond into two parts. Now that geotextile membrane is used to strengthen the soil and allow for drainage, and then they'll put more dirt on top of it. Also looks like there's some pumping operations underway to take the water out of the ponds and into that large tank. And here you can see some of that dirt being spread on top of the geotextile membrane. The geotextile membrane was also used extensively under the foundation of the main factory and at other parts of the site as well. Now where you see the dump trucks on the left and some of the other work here at the bottom of the screen, they have been filling in all of the the water drainage ditches, and that was separating this into two different parts. That has been filled completely in to make this contiguous. They've also been removing all of the risers for the conduit that you can see coming into view. They've removed the construction fence, and now it looks like they're going to continue this removal of all of these risers through this level or this location, and you can see where the new fence is located. Just a few more of the materials are being stored here. The crews are working on the power lines and power poles. That may indicate that we're going to be seeing the lower level power lines removed. And of course, you can see that construction fence as I bring the drone up to a higher altitude. So it does look like they are continuing to work on this site and even expanding it, preparing for that track. And I think this earthwork is going to continue for the next several weeks at least before we start seeing some really good indication of what that final construction is going to look like and what the appearance will be when it's completed. As we maneuver over towards the South Bridge, just a quick look across the highway to the main factory. And you can see some of the vapors coming up off of the factory, also the cooling unit, and the work here along the berm where it's kind of wrapping up, where they put a lot of that wastewater pipe, the caissons, some of the underground vaults, and other items throughout that part of the site. As we come back over to the west side, I'll fly over the Cyber Tunnel, and we'll continue along this side of the site looking over towards the outbound lot. As I mentioned, you can see some Cybercabs on the west side of the end of line, just in the left-hand side of the screen, and those are preparing for shipping as well. So the total number of Cybercabs that we will see on site here and at the crash testing, plus some of the changing of the inventory, is well over 30 today. So let's get ready to cross over the highway and resume on the other side. As I maneuver around the flagpoles, you can see another kind of dark color Model Y coming out of the factory exit. And we'll kind of fly over there and see what is going on. You can tell that that is a Model Y rear-wheel drive that just exited. Unfortunately, there were no vehicles at the moment that I got here close, but you'll see some employees walking out of that exit point and following along where the path where the vehicles would normally go. So instead of waiting here, I thought we would continue towards the north because there's a lot more to see around the site today. I did notice that the crane has been returned to this loading platform, so more items and materials will be loaded up there pretty soon. As we pass the employee entrance on the right-hand side of the screen, I'll stop here briefly where the 4680 cell recycling takes place, and it looks like all the bins are freshly cleaned out, so that work has not yet begun for this work week. As we continue to fly around the northwest corner of the factory, I'll show you these two tanks that are still waiting for installation. It looks like we've got some other equipment that have been brought in. Looks like maybe man lifts near those tanks. And as we continue to fly along the north side, you see some of these racks for plastic parts and also these large crates that have been bringing in those forms for the Cybercab. Looks like one more still needs to be unpacked. This is what they look like here on those stands at the right-hand side of the screen, and also coming into view on the center of the screen. We see some additional body kind of dollies here, those steel frames, and a lot of the stands for the bumpers for allowing them to be painted for the Model Ys. The racks for all the castings on the north side here look pretty full. We see some more of these body kind of metal frames that are used to move the vehicles around inside the factory. Those are being stored here momentarily. I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude, cross over the power lines, and we'll drop back down and take a look at what's going on in the melt center. I did notice a vehicle or a truck was bringing in more of the aluminum alloy wheels, and those have just been arrived and unloaded, and that bulldozer is moving them into position. We see a lot more of the other castings, some of them for recycling, the furnace loading system, the baghouse filtration plant, and coming into view here at the bottom center of the screen are some Cybercab parts, the rear assembly and some of the front assemblies as well. More of these castings are for the Model Ys, And as we pass these receiving doors, we'll take a look at the east secondary main entrance, where most of the construction has been completed. You can see those doors on the wall panel just next to the glass, kind of wrapped in plastic and tape, and that's where that work was being done. So as I pull away, I'll pan over towards the temporary parking lot. We'll get a closer view of that here momentarily, but I wanted to fly over the helicopter pad, show you the work that's being done at the wind tunnel, that white structure near that green Sunbelt generator system. And you can see that crews are continuing to work on the electrical conduit that connects into the rest of the system, and then we'll be able to remove that green generator because that will no longer be needed. A lot of the materials being stored here in the staging yard, more of the work on the drainage on the left, a few more excavations underway, but it's looking much more finished now. As I mentioned, this temporary staging lot is still showing a lot of inventory change out. You can see different colors of vehicles now, and it's good to see that those are swapping out. I understand that sometimes that's used to hold a customer delivery vehicle, so that may be what we are seeing. Here's a good look at some of the materials just to the south of that east main entrance where the work was done. Some additional work along the wall here of the factory, and looks like more items are being delivered on that truck, perhaps getting ready to be brought in to that temporary platform. And of course, more of the work being done on the cooling system. And that cooling system is part of the thermoplastic injection molding process. And there's 4 large machines on the ground floor just on the other side of that wall. And that's what makes the body panels for the Cybercab. There are no Cybercabs at the exit point right now. We do see a couple of Cybertrucks. They also added a couple of days ago that stoplight. You can see it's red above the door, and that's to allow both inward and exit traffic without having any conflicts on the inside. Some more materials are being prepared here on the ground for movement into stamping. Some other ones are in crates, and a nice view of the cooling system. All the fans appear to be working today. And at this intersection, more of the work to install this pipe, some of the trench boxes and excavation work underway as well. And it's just to the south of that pond. And a good view of all the work for that River Road extension on that south side heading off to the east, and another view here of this material staging yard next to the multi-level parking garage. And this is just a really good view of what is going on here today. On the east side, on the ground of the parking lot, we see that there are some large items on the grass, and I'm not really sure what those are. I'll try to get a better look at them if they are there on my next video. Here's a great close-in observation of the work that's being done for the River Road extension, continuing off to the right-hand side of the screen, and some of that dirt section on the left-hand side of the screen. All this is just to the south of the recycling center, which you can see at the center of the screen. And coming into view is many of the workshops that are responsible for making the pipes and manifolds that are being put into Cortex 2 right now. Some of this is going to have to be moved. In fact, there is some work already underway to move some of these operations to allow for River Road's extension to continue. But for right now, it looks like the crews have stopped on River Road extension at this point and are working farther to the northeast, which we'll see here momentarily. But otherwise, this is a great look to the north along the route where River Road will go through. That includes these areas that have had dirt brought in and some grade work completed. And you can see where this continues through this kind of open field to that large mound of dirt with concrete, which is going to have to be removed. And on the other side, the old maintenance facility for the concrete company is still in process of being dismantled, and it needs to be moved away. You can see the excavation work, and the dirt is put onto what looks like plastic. There's some speculation that maybe because of the operations that were here for the last several decades, that some of that soil might have been contaminated, which is why they're putting it onto the plastic. But it does look like that building is really looking ready to be brought down. And of course, there's a nice view back where we came from, the factory in the upper part of the screen. And as I kind of maneuver around, we can see the battery cathode plant Cortex and die shop. Of course, this large mound of dirt at the bottom of the screen, which will be part of the process to build in that river road extension, which will go through this field, which you see some of the earthwork underway. And we're going to take a closer look at that here momentarily. But I'm going to maneuver here to the south end of the battery cathode plant, kind of maneuver back towards the new dummy cell test lab, or the dummy test lab for crash testing. You can see that this wall is about halfway completed, and they're working around that receiving door. And we can also tell at the south end of the crash testing facility that the crash wall has been put into place for more crashing testing. Along the west side, many of the Cybercabs that were here have been moved undercover, and then the new ones that are being prepared for crash testing have been moved to this side of the site next to the fence. And all of these are different from what we saw in the outbound lot, in that these have slightly different configuration. They do not have steering wheel or pedals, and these are the ones that are going to be done for crash testing. There's also one in the blue and black tarp at the north part of this screen. So I'll bring the drone up, kind of pirouette around, facing back to the east to show you the work that's being done to prepare all of this area for River Road's extension. And you can also see next to the green transformers on the left, the field that's picking up more and more dirt, and the grade is being leveled on the kind of left center. And as we see the pond, we'll follow this route through the trees, where they are continuing to work to prepare for River Road to extend all the way through this part of the site, and then up into Lone Tree Field, which we will see momentarily. Looks like 2 Cybertrucks are doing some supervising and more of the work to remove some of this wood debris that has been cleaned up all over this site. And you can still see some of the kind of vertical or linear hills that were remaining from the sand and gravel mine that kind of formed all of this area where the trees are located. And I'm going to just sort of maneuver here, look back in the direction that we came from to give you a context of where exactly we are in relation to the main factory and the battery cathode plant. And I'm going to continue to pull away further to the northeast. At the bottom of the screen, you can see where the road will come through. And we also see work underway to clear out all of the debris that is on this part of the site. There's a great view of that. I kind of speculated this was going to be necessary to do the construction, and it looks like that is definitely true. And this is continuing cleanup of materials like this all the way through where the river road's coming through, and at the top of the screen where they're preparing that large rectangular field. The rest of the field here looks like they have some material at the upper right-hand side of the screen, and the rest is being cleared out from the rental equipment lot. And all that's remaining now are mostly the concrete slabs, a couple of bins, and a little bit of equipment here coming into view at the top center of the screen. We can also see that large mound of kind of gray dirt just to the south of where all of this equipment is still located. This is the concrete kind of reclamation project that is underway by Lippman, the crushing operation. The concrete materials are being stacked in this gray mound. You can see a very large mound at the center of the screen of all the rebar that came out of the debris of the concrete. The field that we see here was filled with a lot of that concrete debris. Still ways to go, but they are making a lot of very quick progress. As I fly over towards this kind of part of the site, you can see these linear hills again. Some of them are being broken down with the freshly dug dirt, as you can tell, and that extends into this large field at the top right where they're doing more of that. And I expect all of this to be reclaimed over the next several months. Speaking of which, here is this field that has been reclaiming the dirt and cleaning out all of the wood debris, which we just flew over. And this is kind of similar to what you saw on the other side where River Road is coming through the trees, and that a lot of the dirt and the wood debris was mixed in together. And this operation is to clear all of that out and make it to a suitable surface that would be able to have the construction that's going to go on for this North Campus construction site. And looking back towards that mound of gray dirt gives you an idea of exactly how large this site is. This is also a good view of more of these kind of roads on top of the hills moving towards the south. And I've seen some soil test drilling going along here, and that suggests that this area is going to be filled in at some point as well. This is also a good view of where we are in relation to the battery cathode plant, the die shop, and Cortex 2 coming into view. On this northeast side of Cortex 2, a lot of trench work, pipe installation, and trench boxes still dominating this part of the site. The part 2 of the cooling system is getting some of the building materials delivered, and some of the pathways being covered with a temporary roof that will eventually have concrete put on top of it. As we get closer to part 1 of the cooling system and also those 14 megapacks, we can see that all 6 of the fans are now in place. The 2 on the left-hand side of the screen as we're looking at it will still need to be connected. And of course, they are working on the superstructure underneath those fan units to allow for the cooling system to operate. The 18 temporary coolers are still in the process of being connected. A lot of the orange pipes connecting into the large silver pipes that run inside to help augment that cooling, to help accelerate the ability to have Cortex 2 come into operation. And as we talked in the intro, Elon Musk confirmed that next month, sometime in April, we'll start seeing the initial operation of this facility. And as you can see with all of these megapacks, they're about halfway completed. And the idea is that they're going to basically build out half of the Cortex 2 with power, cooling, and the computers, get that operational while they continue to build out the second half. Here's a good view of more of the platforms being installed on top of the screw-type piers. This work will continue all the way to the north along this area that I'm flying over. And as I continue to fly to the north, it'll reveal the amount of work that's being done. Many of the screw-type piers have been put into place, especially around the asphalt section with those long lines. More work remains, and then all of that will be filled out with megapacks. And of course, there's more of the cable tray items that have been delivered, and that will help bring the cables from the megapacks and the electrical system over the parapet wall and onto Cortex 2. As we get over to the electrical switch yard, we can see that there are some new items that have been delivered at the bottom of the screen. Those kind of black items indicate that we're going to see some very large of those metal poles installed on the north end, and that'll be helping to bring power to this part of the site. We also see more of the steel superstructure has been erected, 2 of the A-frames, and all of these boxes are the parts that will be necessary to assemble the large transformer that you see at the center of the screen. It will look very similar to the other transformers that you can see at the top left of the screen. And more of the work at the base of that dividing wall is underway, and they're doing earthwork at the south end of all of these controlled trailers. The connecting tunnel has the lids on them, and there's some additional work being done in this location. And a good view back towards Cortex 2 to give you an idea of where exactly we are located. As I pass over this contractor parking lot, which replaced the one that was on that far southwest for the test track, we see these items. Some of them are the white box-like items, which are HVAC, and the other ones wrapped up on the ground are for the flooring inside Cortex 2. More deliveries here. Some of them are the black fiber reinforced panels, polyurethane beams, and then more of the flooring has been delivered on those kind of covered items next to that white truck. As I pull away over Tesla Road to the southeast to just show you the temporary trailers for the Welcome Center, the orientation, and other structures, we will see that built as a permanent one later on west of the highway. And of course, more of the trench work, the purple pipe being installed and connecting this over towards Cortex 2, and that is a major project that goes all the way down to the south end of the main factory. So I'll bring the drone up to a much higher altitude, give you a great bird's eye view of all of the areas that we visited here on the north side. And of course, the Cortex 2, the die shop and the battery cathode plant, the electrical switch yard, the east warehouse on wheels, this far east contractor section with the equipment and the trailers, and of course, the main factory in the top of the screen. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you found this informative, and have a great week coming up. Take care.